What's going on? This is Marcus, and in today's video we're going to do a little compare and contrast of financial foolishness and compared to financial greatness. And so, hey, a little bit of elementary school Venn diagram action. Well, not really a Venn diagram because because there's nothing with these two individuals we're going to talk about that are remotely alike, not from my knowledge and anything that I've researched. And so let's go ahead and get into story time. I know I threw y'all off with a thumbnail without my picture on it, but we'll get back to that in the next video that I drop. So anyway, here we go. We're going to start out with financial foolishness, and that award for this month, I mean, it's terrible too. It's February, but that award goes to Lil Uzi Vert, who paid $24 million for a diamond that he was making installment payments on since 2017. Then he spent an additional $7 million to have that diamond installed in his forehead. And so when my son told me this a few days ago, the diamond in the forehead, I mean, he makes the world's ugliest Teletubby, but the diamond in the forehead didn't even register on my radar. My first thought was, man, well, he paid $24 million for a diamond that he's been making installment payments on since 2017. So I'm assuming this guy's net worth has to be higher than $24 million. So of course I look it up, and it's about between $13 to $15 million. So his net worth is $13 to $15 million. He spent $24 million on this diamond over a series of years from 2017 to 2021. I can't even fathom how much of that was actually interest paid to the jeweler. But to top it off, I mean, as soon as when you make a bad decision, and I've done this, I think we've all done this, you know, you like to double down. I used to double down on my bad decisions. I'd make a bad decision and then do something to add sprinkles on top of the bad decision ice cream that I just made. So he doubled down and decided to spend $7 million to get it put in his forehead. I mean, like, he looks like a terrible knockoff Marvel character. And then the other thing that I thought was, like, you really think that the Goon Squad won't knock you in the back of your head and snatch your diamond out like Thanos did, the old boy in the Avengers movie? I don't know. I thought that was just financial foolishness. We always hear stories of athletes and entertainers who go broke after having made millions of dollars during the course of their career or at the peak of their career. And this was just a bad financial decision all around. Spent over 100% of he spent over his total net worth on a diamond that he put in his forehead. And I mean, I don't know, like, I'm just waiting to see the story pop up about some guys robbing him and snatching the damn diamond out of his forehead. So I didn't want to compare anything stupid financially without talking about financial genius. So the other gentleman in the picture, you all may not know who he is, but his name is Mr. Earl Crawley. Live in Baltimore, Maryland. He makes me happy that I used to live and I went to school in Baltimore. Now, Mr. Earl Crawley is a parking lot attendant, and was a parking lot attendant. And Mr. Earl Crawley never made more than $12 an hour, $20,000 a year. But Mr. Crawley's investment portfolio is worth over $500,000. Now, how does that work? How does the math on that work? Let's take into consideration now a little bit about Mr. Crawley. He grew up in a lower class income family. His mother always taught him about saving. He did have siblings. Mr. Crawley does have a family. He sent his 3 children, to Catholic school, not public school. His home is paid for, so he has 0 debt, and he's sitting on over $500,000 in his total investment accounts. Now, how did he pull this off at $12 an hour? Well, Mr. Crawley, in his interview, and I think this story is from 2012, I believe, that I found online, but from his interview, Mr. Crawley actually was very honest and open about just his situation in life. He knew early on, he stated that he wasn't a smart guy, so he knew he wasn't going to get a big wig executive job to force him and put him in a position to make a lot of income. And so what Mr. Crawley did, as he was a parking lot attendant, he happened to be a parking lot attendant in the financial district. And he used to always talk to everybody as they went in and out to and from work, coming and going. And Mr. Crawley said that, and this is great, that his gift from God is his ability to listen. And that's big, the ability to listen. I mean, I had problems with listening at times, but that's the big thing, to be, just humble enough to tell your story. But he knew what his gift was the gift of listening. So he would always talk and listen and ask, the people who work in the financial district for their advice, and they would give him advice. And one gentleman who worked at a bank said, "Look here, Earl, you're a really nice guy, but you don't have the education to make it far and make a really good salary. So you have to learn how to save, and you have to learn how to invest." So with $12 an hour, Mr. Earl began investing. He would save up. When he initially started saving, he was saving amounts that people were laughing at, pennies, and pennies grew to dollars. And he would actually save to purchase stock, and he would buy stocks one or two at a time. It didn't take $10,000 worth of cash on one stock. He would buy stocks one or two at a time. One of his first purchases was IBM stock that he purchased in 1981. But he went about purchasing IBM stocks, Exxon Mobil stock, a couple of stocks at a time. Then as he got a little bit more into investing, he opened up some mutual funds that invested in other blue chip companies, those top 500 companies in the United States. And so just doing this, Mr. Earl built this amazing portfolio of over $500,000. And so I bring up Mr. Earl to say that, hey, delayed gratification and being patient and consistent is definitely the way to build wealth. Hey, if you want to be like Lil Uzi, that's fine, but we have to make smarter decisions. I was watching this show the other day, and they talked about the classes of millionaires. And they had the first class of millionaires, the person who's super gifted and talented, and that's your Jay-Z, your Warren Buffett, your Elon Musk. Hey, those guys and people who have that talent and ability are few and far between. Then the next class that they identified were the executives, the hedge fund executives, the bank executives, those kind of Wall Street guys. Then you also had a class of, the third class is the saver and the investor. And now you can actually fall in any spectrum on this, but most people, like Mr. Earl Crawley showed us, that most people attain their fortune and wealth through saving and investing over time. Me, when God was passing out the talent, he gave me just enough to be able to get by. So I'm not no super duper businessman like some of the best business minds out there. So I'm definitely a saver and investor. But that's just a comparison of financial foolishness that was made by one individual. I don't even want to talk about it because it was so terrible, and not to mention that it don't even look cool. Like, I don't know, like maybe if the diamond in the forehead was cool looking, then I could be like, but every time I look, even I'm looking at the thumbnail right now on my computer, and he looks like Lil Wayne and a Teletubby commingled and gave birth to him. But I don't want to talk about the financial foolish. I wanted to focus and give props to this gentleman, Mr. Earl Crawley. Hey, he did it over time, one piece at a time, one penny at a time, one brick at a time, and he built and it was able to amass a significant investment portfolio, only making $12 an hour. Never made more than $12 an hour during his entire life. So that goes to show the dedication. Now let's just put this into context. The statistics out there show that if you have $250,000 saved up in any type of investment account or in savings, if you have $250,000, you're in the top 10% of individuals when it relates to retirement savings. Only $250,000 puts you in that category. Mr. Earl saved over $500,000 doing it penny by penny, dollar by dollar. So it's definitely a way you can do it. There's definitely ways you can become successful. It just takes a little bit of patience, consistency, effort, even if it's $1 a week. Props to Mr. Earl. Hey, you are the GOAT. You are a financial genius. We respect. Hey, salute to Mr. Earl. The other guy, we shall not name his name anymore. I appreciate you all tuning in. I just wanted to do a little bit of something. I just wanted to do a little something different that I saw that just kind of made me shake my head. And I didn't want to present anything that stupid and foolish without giving an opportunity to present greatness, someone who did things the right way, who we can actually learn from. So I appreciate you all tuning in. Like, subscribe, comment. Peace.